The Council now proceeds to the second session. Members who wish to speak in this session, please press the Request to Speak button. The debate themes of this session are consolidate and enhance our status as an international financial shipping and trade center, develop new qualitative productive forces tailored to local conditions. The policy areas covered in this session have been set out in the script for members' easy reference. Mr. Chan Xiu-Hong. Thank you, President. I will focus on International Shipping Center and the digital transformation of public services. The 14th Five-Year Plan supports Hong Kong's in consolidating a position as an international shipping center. Mr. Xia Baolong met with the business sector last week in Shenzhen, and he said that we should build land, sea, and airports in order to enhance our position as an international aviation, shipping, and trade centers. I'm glad that in the policy address this year, a number of directions have been set out. In 2023, October, the government promulgated the development blueprint for maritime and port, and we're implementing the various measures. And the government have also proposed measures to build commodities trading ecosystems. In the third plenum, it is said that we should consolidate our position as an international financial shipping and trade center. As to encourage commodities to be traded in Hong Kong, that will drive our logistics trade as well. It is a trend for the maritime sector to adopt greenfield. If we build a greenfield bunkering center, that will consolidate our position as an international shipping center. And we should also build a green maritime corridor. I hope that we can work with other cities in the Greater Bay Area. Hong Kong has a comprehensive legal systems. I also support the development of high-value-added maritime services, including financing, insurance, vessel transactions, registrations, rental, and lease, so on and so forth, to diversify our sector. However, the government is now renaming the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board into the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board and retain its position as a advisory body. I'm disappointed by it. The government has not upgraded the board into a statutory body. I hope that the government will reconsider the position of the board. President, now I will talk about digital transformation of public services. In the policy address, in terms of digital transformation of public services, there are not that many measures. The Digital Policy Office will make use of AI to process documents, and the Housing Authority will launch a platform to manage public rental housings, and they will also make use of information technology management tools and analytics tools. But as to how we enhance the efficiency of administration by making use of I&T, we don't see that many measures. As for smart city measures, they are just the same as those 8 measures set out in the last year of the policy address. The government promote digital governance, digital infrastructure to build a smart city. I support them. But I think that the work of the DPO should not just consolidate infrastructure of I&T, but we should also culture the I&T literacy of the civil service and enhance a sense of security among our people. In 2018, Singapore promulgated the blueprint on digital government. Before 2023, all civil servants must be I&T literate. And they have set out a series of key performance indicators. It shows the Singaporean government's value cybersecurity. Data is the key driving force for development. In the civil service team, they don't attach a lot of importance to open data platforms. They don't treat data as our resources and asset. Only with the right application direction through analysis and consolidation can we give value to data and transform them into measures and policies. I think that we should make reference to Foshan, Hangzhou, and cities alike in the mainland. We should create a urban brain for our city to promote urban management and planning. President, I so submit for this session.
Mr. Rock Chen. Now, the third plenary session of the 20th CP Central Committee, there's confirmation, there's support for enhancing our various status. And so in the policy address, there's proposal to develop Hong Kong into a commodities trading hub. And then there will also be a gold trading hub. So this has a strategic significance. Now, for gold and commodities trading, there is a industry change actually behind that. So then there will be demands for financial services and so on. So it's about how we can work with the country and how can we complement the development with the Shanghai gold trading trading sector. And then the SAR government must also talk to the stakeholders of the industry chain, such as the Hong Kong X Airport Authority, the Gold and Mercantile Exchange, and so on. So together, we can work out a development plan, as well as a regulatory framework and a settlement process. And then we could quickly build a gold exchange market, and we can serve as the offshore gold trading center for the country. And there is need to talk to the relevant mainland authorities so that they can use RMB as settlement currency offshore. And then we need to work, make sure there's a gold connect with gold markets in the mainland. So investors can then store their gold in Hong Kong. Also, they can carry out transactions. And this is a way to further promote the internationalization of renminbi. And then so either Hong Kong or Shanghai will become the gold price setting authorities in the here, either here or in the mainland. And then we need to further strengthen our function as an offshore RMB business hub. So we should further develop the various connect schemes, and there should be more RMB denominated investment products. And then in Hong Kong, we need to expand our friends circles. We need to expand the Middle East and Southeast Asian markets. And then we could also attract more family offices and asset management companies to Hong Kong, and we could sell to them our high value added financial services, and then we could have better connections with international financial markets, and then international investors will be able to seize upon the opportunities brought about by the further opening up and reform of the country. And then we need to speed up the development of fintech. There should be further digital transactions, and there must be policies on Web 3.0, because the advancement is rapid in the financial market as well as in technology. Now, I would like to declare that I'm director of the Airport Authority. Now, is proposed in a policy address to develop yacht the economy and develop a fresh live food market. Now we have strong cold storage facilities in Hong Kong, so there could be further development there. And then perhaps the government could go to Japan for a visit and learn about their successful experience in cold storage of food. And then we could develop ourselves into a market too for fresh food. And then if we could promote yacht tourism, we could bring in high-spending tourists from the yacht sector. And we could also provide various professional services such as repair, maintenance, and so on. Now, apart from just increasing the number of berthing spaces, we must also make reference to the policy of Singapore. That is, captains can just make an appointment, and then immigration officers will will go to the designated yacht club to perform immigration clearance for passengers on the yacht. Now, Shenzhen is also doing something similar. In Hong Kong, therefore, we have to take advantage of us being international aviation and shipping hub. We must improve the immigration clearance process and improve the support services so that we can compete with Singapore and Shenzhen. About building arts trading ecosystem in the airport, we could work with Arts Basel, and then there could be storage as well as display facilities for art pieces that will help to promote art trading. And then there could also be tax concessions for family offices and asset management companies. So more international investors will then conduct art transactions in Hong Kong. This will enhance our status as an arts trading hub. The policy address also proposes a series of measures to stabilize property prices. I see there's a fundamental change in the property policy. The new policy is to meet the housing needs of and investment needs of the public, and there is also relaxation of transaction of non-domestic properties. And in terms of the housing market, there are still there's still a huge stock of housing units in the private market. So the new policy will not cause property prices to soar in the near term. But then the new policy could promote transactions in the property market. This will support the healthy and stable development of the housing market. Now, it's important there is turnover in the housing market, because if developers are able to sell their units, then they will get that means they will have cash flow to buy land and build more units. Now, land revenue is still one of the four main sources of revenue for the government. And, issuing of bonds is just a buffer measure during the transition. Thank you. Mr. Shanghai Long. Madam Deputy President, I speak in support of the motion of thanks. I must declare that I'm a consultant of an I&T company. Now, this policy address covers all the aspirations of the public, and then it also closely follows the development of the country. At the same time, it aims to improve the quality of living of the public. So I am particularly interested in the I&T policies in the policy address. For example, better collaboration among the academia, industry, and so on. And also there's the Inno Hong Kong I&T R&D platform, and so on. I believe the government must change its mindset. It must reposition itself so that we could implement various policies. And then in the next decade, with the guidance of the government, we are able to attract $100 billion of investment to further develop R&T here. The government should promote investment by the market. The market should play a leading role, and there must be better interaction between investors and the R&D operators. And then the government should not just act as a single investor. Now, when venture companies work on their projects, it shouldn't just rely on the government for support. Now, if startup companies are able to raise finances in the market, the government no longer needs to give support. But then at the same time, there could be co-investment model, and we should bring in more social capital. We don't want startups to rely too much on government's support, and they won't be competitive in the market. And then the central authorities are very much concerned about the business sector engaging in the development of in the promotion of new quality, new productive forces. But then here we're talking about various risks associated with I&T because they are capital intensive and so on. So maybe business sector is discouraged. So between investors and startups, the government needs to play a role in 4 aspects. One, it should play the role of matching I&T in a targeted manner with investors. And secondly, you should need the market to promote I&T development. And then the government should guide allocation of resources in the market. And then the government and should encourage different sectors to play their role. Now, in the policy address, there's the mention of the Hong Kong Shenzhen High I&T Park in the Loop. I'm concerned about its progress. Now, it's become a platform for collaboration among the academia, industry, and the R&D sectors. Now, it is testing field for new policies, and then this year there is a development outline development plan of the park. This should be submitted to the central authorities, so it will be approved and recognized by the central authorities. As for the Shenzhen Park of the I&T Park, this already been approved by the State Council. So for the Hong Kong Park, we also need to get approval. Now, there is a difference in the pace of development between the Shenzhen and the Hong Kong parks. The Hong Kong park is lagging behind to a good extent, and so there, and then we may see competition among the sectors that's not actually desirable. So there should be a high-level task force between Hong Kong and Shenzhen to harmonize development, and then that will serve as a good example of co-development of I&T. Now, my proposal was not adopted by the policy address. I have actually made 2 suggestions on many different occasions. One, the government, I would strongly advise that each policy bureau should at least procure 4 I&T local I&T products. So that means the government will be able to procure at least 60 I&T R&D local R&D products that will actually help to boost R&D in the market. And then these businesses will then have the funds to further plow back into R&D. And second, the government should set up AI institute. There's no need to set up a new institute, but instead it could just reform some of the existing centers. It's about promoting investment in AI, and so that AI could then be able to develop on an industrial scale. This policy address is actively proposes to actively promote I&T. Various initiatives have been announced that will bring about more development opportunities and help to attract talents to Hong Kong. So we should applaud the policies proposed. But then, if they are to be actually implemented, it's about what the role the government plays. There's need to make changes so that we could turn visions into actual achievements, and then we could enhance our international competitiveness, and then we could fit into the government's the country's blueprint of I&T development. So I will stop here for now. Thank you.
Mr. Jeffrey Lam. Thank you, Deputy President. This current term government has achieved results, and it has kept in mind the needs of our people. From this latest policy address, I see that the government is adopting a holistic approach. It's rolling out many measures to implement the spirit of the third plenum. This is to help develop our 8 centers and also promote new productive forces. The resolution passed at the third plenum stresses that we have to be innovative. There are a series of measures rolled out in the policy address, and it asks us to identify, adapt to, and embrace changes. This helps boost the confidence of the business sector, and these measures help enhance the sense of well-being of our people. The BPA, as well as the Chamber of Commerce that I represent, commend this policy address. SMEs have been facing difficulties in financing. A few months ago, we held a large-scale seminar. Together with the business sector, we met with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority to tell the HKMA about the difficulties we face in terms of taking out loans and financing. I'm glad that a working group on SME financing has been set up to follow up on the challenges faced by SMEs. Mr. John Lee cares about the enterprises in Hong Kong. He has talked to me a number of times about the business environment in Hong Kong, especially the situations faced by the SMEs. I'm glad that the government is taking on board our party's views in terms of resuming the principal moratorium measure. Also, this helps enhancing flexibility in terms of the banks giving out loans to SMEs. All these help to enhance the capital flow of SMEs. I think these measures are very effective. The HKMA, after the rolling out of the policy address, launched 5 measures to support the SMEs, and this shows that the government is willing to listen to people's views. Deputy President, the status of an international financial center is crucial to Hong Kong. The policy address proposes deepening the mutual access of the Hong Kong and mainland markets, and there will be more products settled in RMB, and there will be proactive talks with the mainland in terms of expanding the Bond Connect. We suggest deepening the mutual market access regime, and we should introduce more new financial products into the green financial market to enhance our competitiveness. We can learn from the US in terms of issuing bonds, and we can explore issuing short-term bonds to help sustain public organizations. We can also invite the Middle East as well as the Belt and Road countries to issue bonds in Hong Kong. In terms of reducing the liquor duty, actually we proposed such suggestions years ago. We believe that this measure will help drive the development of the catering, retail, as well as other sectors in Hong Kong, and we can become a hub of liquor import and export. On investment, we think that we should allow people who want to move to Hong Kong to make their investments by purchasing residential properties. The government is allowing investment in residential properties whose transaction price is no less than $50 million, with the amount of real estate investment to be counted towards the total capital investment capped at $10 million. I support this policy. Around the world, there are many places trawling for talents. I think the government should roll out one-stop services, including consultation services and so on, for potential applicants to attract capital and talent. Deputy President, last week, Mr. Xia Baolong met with the business sector in Shenzhen and Hong Kong. He said that the business sector is the major driving force of the economy in Hong Kong. He hopes that the business sector can actively participate in the promotion of economy in Hong Kong. He hopes that the government can work with the business sector to improve the market with the Middle East as well as the ASEAN countries. And it is hoped that there will be more visits to these countries to strive for more business opportunities. Apart from searching for business opportunities, we have to conduct visits to invite potential buyers and investors to come to Hong Kong so that they can experience Hong Kong themselves. We should show them that Hong Kong is a place with political stability and economic stability. A friend told me that Hong Kong is very different from the areas or developing countries that he went to. So I hope we can break people's stereotypes about Hong Kong. We should explore new products to inject new impetus to the economy of Hong Kong. Thank you. Mr. Frankie Yik, Deputy President, in this policy address, there are parts dedicated to the logistics and transport industry. Mr. Xia Baolong, in the latest symposium, mentioned that we should not change our status as an important port. He said that without the ports, we are not the typical Hong Kong people know. We feel encouraging by the policies rolled out by the government. In this year's policy address, the government is taking on board views of the sector. This helps address the sector's needs. Our sector asked the government to set up a statutory body to come up with strategies. However, in 2016, the government only set up a non-statutory body, that is the current Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board. The work of the board was responsible or taken charge of by the then Transport and Logistics Bureau. Last year, the modern logistics development blueprint as well as a relevant action agenda were promulgated, and there were 50 items that have to be taken forward by the government. The sector is worried about the manpower of the government. The government is now proposing to upgrade the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board into a Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board. While this is not a statutory body that the sector has been advocating, however, the chairman will be appointed to sit in the board. I hope the board will better address the sector's needs. Also, more resources will be allocated to the board in terms of carrying out research and other work. I believe this new board will be more effective than the previous one. Apart from restructuring the old Maritime and Port Board, the government is also going to attract large commodities traders to come to Hong Kong. While in the action agenda on logistics development, there have been proposals to roll out concessions. This year's policy address explicitly says that we should build a large commodities trading ecosystem and that there should be storage facilities, and this deserves our support. The Liberal Party also welcomes the government to build a greenfield bunkering center. The two power companies are going to work together to build a LPG center onshore. And the International Maritime Organization is also advocating similar initiatives. LPG is a cleaner energy compared to other types of fuel. However, because of limitations in our legislation, last year we were able to start using LPG. However, there is no bunkering center. Until last month, we saw a passage of a new legislation, and it allows us to have fuel bunkering for vessels in Hong Kong. As I mentioned previously, LNG is only a transitional fuel. Methanol can be the mainstream fuel for vessels that travel for a long distance. And methanol is manufactured in the mainland, and this gives us the conditions to build or to use methanol in Hong Kong. I hope that with the passage of the legislation, the government can work harder so that shipping companies can include Hong Kong as one of the fuel bunkering centers. While Hong Kong is no longer one of the top 10 busiest ports in Hong Kong, we're still in a prime geographical location. It is also an important entreport in the mainland. As said by Mr. Chabalong, we should continue to develop our port. Apart from the port strategies rolled out, we should draw reference from the practices in Singapore and the mainland. We should streamline the procedures for applying for the import and export of goods in Hong Kong. Ship companies find it very troublesome to apply for licenses, which normally take 2 weeks. And it's hard for them to travel to other Asian cities or countries in time. And captains may be sued because of a late delivery of goods. Therefore, government should enhance the import and export of goods permit as soon as possible. Also, we should work with the Zhuhai Airport to enhance the Fly via Zhuhai Hong Kong scheme. There are some 80 domestic flights from Zhuhai Airport that we should adopt an intermodal transshipment mode. For example, air, land, air intermodal transshipment mode. With the commissioning of the 3-runway system by the end of this month, the airport in Hong Kong will be able to handle more cargoes. While the mainland is working to expand its market in the Belt and Road countries, I think the Hong Kong airport should work to increase more flights and routes. We have the Dongguan Logistics Park, where goods are packed as well as screened in one go, and these goods can be shipped directly from Hong Kong to other destinations, while sea transport is not covered. The people in charge of the goods to be shipped have to apply for relevant licenses and permits. the government should consider exempting these permits. The government should also work with other GBA cities to expand the transport network. We are in a good geographic locations. Within 4 hours of flight, people can go from Hong Kong to a lot of places in Asia Pacific. So we should set up storage facilities here and develop a reverse cargo and logistics plans. There should be more sites and land for logistics services, be it for high-end goods or cheap goods to support the development of e-commerce.
As for the logistics land in Hongshui Haji New Development Area, it is said that the company led by the government will formulate the strategy for development of the park as well as be responsible for the daily operation. This is different from our previous tendering approach. Under the new approach, the government will have a bigger role to play. Hopefully, this will facilitate the development of logistics trade. To cope with the high number of orders from e-commerce, we have to digitalize and automate a lot of different logistics procedures, and that should be the trend. Although the government will offer more assistance to the trade so that they can adopt technology to go for smart logistics, time is the key. To complement the development of cross-boundary e-commerce, hopefully our single window approach can be implemented as soon as possible so that we can interface with that of the mainland, so that in terms of customs clearance and co-location arrangements can be implemented to enhance the logistics trade's competitiveness. President, land is scarce in Hong Kong. We must use train as the backbone. So the Northern Main Line is important, and with the development of East Kowloon, we will be developing the smart and green mass transit systems. With the commissioning of these systems, non-railway operators will suffer. The government must strike a balance so that different public transport service operators can continue to survive. With expansion of the railway network, the passengers for non-railway services has decreased, and unlicensed vehicles are taking the business of registered drivers. So we are facing an insufficient number of drivers on the market. Although the government has rolled out measures to phase out unregistered vehicles to carry passengers for reward, the policy address also talked about setting aside $750 million under the Green Tech Fund to assist drivers to purchase e-taxis. However, I think that the subsidy is not enough. Apart from railway, a lot of different public transport service sector are facing difficulties in their operation. They want to support the government, but they don't have the resources to do so. The government is promoting the digitalization of vehicles of the bus and taxi trade. For the e-taxis and e-buses to be successfully implemented, we need to have enough chargers. The subsidy offered by the government will encourage the drivers to change to e-taxis and e-buses. In terms of trawling for talents, the government will try to attract skilled workers in specific sectors. Our party definitely support that. Our employment rate stays at 3%. This is equivalent to full employment. According to statistics, we are in short of 180,000 of manpower in Hong Kong, including engineers and skilled workers. Given our population structure, we don't see that we can attract 100,000 of skilled workers and professionals to Hong Kong. Different sectors need skilled workers. The sea, air, and land sector that I represent needs skilled workers. However, we don't have people to repair airplane, vessels, or vehicles. With the development of our maritime trade, we need the professionals in this area. So I hope that the government will roll out more programs to nurture such talents, to make sure that the professionals and skilled workers will stay in Hong Kong. These workers accumulate the experience here and we want to retain them. The government also launched the importation scheme for labor in 3 specific sectors. The quotas for aviation and logistics sector has been exhausted. With the full resumption of capacity of our airport to pre-pandemic level, we still are short of manpower. With the 3 runway system, the manpower crunch situation is even more worse. I hope that the government will address the issue by increasing the quotas for the aviation trade and enhance the ratio of local to foreign worker to 1 to 2, from 1 to 2 to 1 to 1. The government is proposing the principal moratorium measure to help the SMEs face the cash flow problem, but that hinges on whether the banks will actually implement the proposal. I hope that the government will ask the banks to finance the SME so that they can continue to survive. Mr. Duncan Chiu. Thank you, Deputy President. The development of new quality productive forces is essential to our development. I&T is a key element of new quality productive forces, and we must seize opportunities. We should consolidate our position as an international financial center, and we must reform and upgrade. We should digitalize our economy to ensure high-quality development of our economy. The I&T sector and I will support the government's initiatives. And I hope that the government will speed up in adopting a changed mindset so that we can empower the I&T development of the Greater Bay Area. Hong Kong has been integrating into the national development, and we have achieved a lot of different breakthroughs. We're developing the Central Technopole and the Northern Metropolis by offering a lot of I&T lands. In terms of capital, the government has rolled out a number of subsidy schemes, for example, Inno Hong Kong, as well as the Hong Kong New Industrialization Development Alliance. This allows the commercialization of R&D outcome, and these schemes will facilitate the initiatives. I think that the government should see how we should make better use of the R&D outcome. Maybe the government should pilot the R&D products so that more people will know more about them for us to go into or enter other markets. The government also proposed the I&T industry-oriented fund amounting to $10 billion, targeting designated sector. Setting up a fund has been what we've been advocating for over the years. I hope that the government will roll that out as soon as possible to attract more venture capital and professional investors to Hong Kong. That will also attract more capital to Hong Kong for investing in I&T. As the next step, we should think about how we can make full use of the $10 billion to attract local and foreign investors to come to Hong Kong. This will improve the matching functions of the fund, and the fund managers may bring quality projects to Hong Kong. So in this respect, on the selection of fund managers or the matching of fund, I hope that the government will try to attract top-notch investment teams to Hong Kong. In terms of requirements and criteria, they should be in line with those on the market so that we can bring quality I&T projects to Hong Kong. In terms of time frame, over the past 2 to 3 years, we saw a weak investment market. So a lot of R&D teams have difficulties financing their projects. That's why this $10 billion fund is very important. Hopefully, the government will submit the proposal to the LegCo next year so that R&D sector will see new capital inflow so that we have more capital to support the I&T development of Hong Kong. In terms of policy, the government has designated areas of development, including AI, health, life and health science, Hong Kong Shenzhen I&T Park, transformation of R&D outcome. The government is also dedicating resources to improve I&T infrastructures. These are the areas that we care very much about. I think that the government should also review the schemes that they have to see if they are up to date. For example, legislation relating to digital assets, we have to see if our framework is comprehensive enough in terms of regulation. Are they good enough for us to maintain our competitiveness? The government is trying to regulate Web3 development. We have a lot of different competitors, for example, Mica and Farah, Japan, and other countries are making use of legislation to regulate the development of digital assets or virtual assets. We must make sure that we're competitive so that enterprises will come and develop here. In terms of talents, the government has rolled out different importation or immigration schemes, attracting different top talents and high caliber talents. The government should meet the needs of these talents. Apart from that, we should also offer quality job opportunities for these talents. This is the problem faced by a lot of talents who have come to Hong Kong recently. We have to provide quality job opportunities to attract these talents to stay behind for good. We should offer incentives for enterprises so that they will create more job opportunities for talents. As I proposed previously, I think that we can work with national laboratories to see if they can set up a laboratory in Hong Kong. By this, we can create high-tech job opportunities. In terms of land, the Northern Metropolis and Cultural Artificial Islands are large-scale infrastructure projects. We will be able to offer I&T and land for housing over the long run. But over the short term, we have to meet different challenges. Do we have a spade-ready land to meet the needs of the market? Maybe we should set aside land for logistics park. We should also work with other cities in the Greater Bay Area. How can we complement with each other? Perhaps we should collaborate on the business aspects, just like how Singapore developed a Singapore logistics park in Suzhou. The Suzhou Logistics Park was a project between the mainland government and the Singaporean government. In May 1994, the park was commissioned and 1,300 projects were commissioned, bringing about $19 billion of revenue. Maybe we should make reference to the collaborative model of the Suzhou Logistics Park so that we can develop more land and talent resources for us to achieve a win-win situation. I hope that the government will consider such proposal. Deputy President, with the greater integration among different cities in the Greater Bay Area, the government has rolled out a number of measures to support a pilot scheme on using health vouchers in the Greater Bay Area and the personal standard contract on the flow of personal data in the Greater Bay Area. This is a scheme to facilitate the flow of data among different cities in the Greater Bay Area that will support the flow of personal information. I hope that we can also facilitate the approval of drugs. These are the requests of various sectors. Also, green tech is a key element under the new industrialization. To meet our carbon emission goal, the government has rolled out different measures to enhance our position as an international, sustainable, green financial center. How do we bring green financing activities to Hong Kong? We must review our measures. We should consider our productive elements. Do we have enough experts in this area? Is our carbon calculation methodology comprehensive enough? Do we have sufficient infrastructures to support our development of the sector? I think that we should make relevant adjustments so that the measures can be implemented effectively. Deputy President, I so speak in support of the motion of thanks on the policy address.
Professor William Wong. Deputy President, this is the third policy address of the Chief Executive. The theme is reform for enhancing development and building our future together. In the policy address, there were reform was mentioned 41 times. It shows that this government takes reform very seriously. And in various policy areas, this policy address proposes different reforms. For example, the reforming the employee retraining board, digitization of businesses, the introduction of basic housing units, and targeted measures to improve subdivided units, and so on. So there are various reform measures. It shows that this government faces up to problems and it has the courage to propose reform measures. The government also has the commitment and capacity to take forward the reforms. Now, an opinion poll shows that there's 60% support for the policy address, and this is also the support that the government can rely on in taking forward the reform. Now, since this government takes office, it's been doing much about promoting innovation and technology. In the 2022 policy address, already various measures were proposed to promote I&T, and then the blueprint on I&T development was also published at the end of 2022. So there is an overall comprehensive plan for I&T development. And then Professor Sun Dong keeps refining the blueprint and implementing the blueprint for example, there's the Race Plus, that's the development of the Hong Kong Shenzhen I&T Park in the Loop. So we see that the government's working hard to catch up because of political bickering. There was a stalemate in the previous 2 decades. And now with the national security ordinance in place, and finally Hong Kong could move forward, moving from stability to prosperity. And then in the policy address this year, there are further measures to promote I&T. There's a promotion of a digital transformation of different industries, and there are various other I&T measures as well, so it deserves our praise. The policy address also puts forward various forward-looking initiatives. For example, the SL government is going to set up different funds and schemes. For example, $10 billion I&T industry-oriented fund. This fund will play an important role because there will be targeted promotion of fund investment under the I&T industry-oriented fund. There will be synergy created, and then new industries will become the new quality, new productive forces in Hong Kong, and it will help to boost our overall competitiveness. And there's also the $150 million to improve the $1.5 billion to improve the I&T Venture Fund. It will focus on strategic industries. And in particular startups in these strategic industries. So that will help to promote the rapid growth of and development of startups in the strategic industries. And there's also a pilot scheme on I&T Accelerator. This is to bring startups to Hong Kong. So startups will serve as a stimulus, and they will help to promote development in this area in Hong Kong. There's also a chapter on grooming talents. Now there are various schemes to bring in talents, but then we also need to train local talents. We need to help our next generation to learn new technology so they could contribute to our development. That's why I welcome the setting up of this committee on I&T education and talent training, because last year in the motion of thanks debate I suggested such a committee. It will it helps to formulate a curriculum on I&T education. At the same time, the committee could give advice on I&T education as a whole. I hope this committee will be able to play this role, and then there will be systematic I&T education curriculum to train the talents we need. In artificial intelligence, AI comes up in the policy address over a dozen of times. It shows that the government is actively embracing AI technologies. It shows that the government has vision. Then this is actually an important investment in the sustainable I&T development of Hong Kong. But then if we want to promote AI development further, the government must come up with a comprehensive strategy. The central authorities included the AI plus strategy in its work report. It's actually the first of 10 priority tasks. So this is a core driving force of high-quality new productive forces. So under the Digital Policy Office, the government should set up a AI plus strategy development committee to promote such development. On the whole, I am all in support of the policy address this year. I hope the various initiatives in the policy address will be implemented progressively, and then we could move closer to our goal as an international I&T hub. So that's all I will say for this session. Thank you. Ms. Eunice Yung, Deputy President, I speak in support of the motion. I thank the government for taking on board many of the suggestions of my party. For example, developing silver economy, developing sports dispute arbitration, cutting liquor tax, and so on. So it shows that the Australia has taken on board the views of different sectors. Now, on sports dispute resolution, there's much said in the policy address, and also there is support because the central authorities support Hong Kong's development into an international I&T system. So we need to promote AI development. And the government needs to improve the entire artificial intelligence ecosystem. We could learn from the successful experience of Wuhan. And then we could also formulate a strategy on AI. So we could promote better allocation of resources, and we could build an AI industry chain. And then Hong Kong will become an AI hub. Now, computing power is key to AI development. Right now, computing is rather scattered. Now, there will soon be the supercomputing center it will provide 3,000p of computing power in 2 phases. But then Wuhan, by 2025, will have 5,000p of computing power. And then Shanghai, for the 6th year in a row, has hosted the AI World Congress. And Shenzhen has cloud computing too, and then other cities such as Singapore, Switzerland, they have already published their own AI development strategy. So Hong Kong needs to work faster on this. I think the government needs to consider the core of AI. There should be better regional collaboration, and we should better integrate into AI development in GBA. And then there's also the China-made chips, AI chips. So we could also just include our data there, and with this, and then we could enhance the efficiency of such chips, and that means we can then enhance our computing power. I think the government should support local R&D centers in developing big modeling. The government should open up more data, and there should be a management model for data. So with the generation, storage, protection, and opening of data, the government needs to do better planning and coordination to facilitate the use of big data. On training of AI talents, the government needs to train AI talents that has multiple skills. And well, when I met with some AI companies, I learned about their development, and they believe the STEM internship scheme is a good one. University students with various R&D skills are able to take part in the scheme, but then when they want to commercialize their R&D products, they will need someone with other skills than IT skills. The government needs to expand the internship scheme to include arts, so STEM becomes STEAM. And then legal law students and commerce students could also join the scheme, because they will help to turn R&D products, R&D outcome into market products. And then there will be the third Hong Kong research cluster. The focus is on the various industries. So I believe the scheme and the clusters will bring more startup operators to come to Hong Kong to set up I&T accelerators. I hope the government will work with the Science Park and the Cyberport closer, so they could help to promote I&T incubation and so on, and also promote the commercialization R&D outcome. And then many AI companies tell us that Hong Kong businesses are not keen on adopting I&T products. For SMEs, of course, it's a matter of funds. Another difficulty is that these companies don't want to be the first to use this product. So the government needs to give further support, and the government should take the lead to adopt local R&D to local I&T products. Now, there are, of course, existing funding schemes. Maybe the government could also consider the possibility of crowdfunding. But of course, the government must first have a proper regulatory framework, so for people to raise funds through crowdfunding legally and properly. And that will help to support the development of I&T in Hong Kong. Now on resolution, we support the setting of an international resolution center. I'm all for community resolution. So in the policy address is stated that there will be further promotion of resolution services. I hope in the 18 districts of Hong Kong, you'll be training resolution talents. Now, Singapore has been promoting this for 10 years. In many districts, they have district resolution services. So outside the court, there is therefore an efficient and an economic means to resolve disputes, say, among neighbors. Now, there's the setting of the JMHO, and then the International Dispute Resolution headquarters will be in Hong Kong. Apart from legal dispute resolution, the government should promote community resolution so that residents in different districts could also embrace the resolution culture. Perhaps there could be first community resolution pilot schemes. Maybe training could be given first to district councillors and care team members. They don't need to turn everyone into specialists in resolution, but you can just teach them some basic resolution skills, dispute resolution skills, and they'll be able to handle community disputes better. So we can then popularize community resolution. It's also to empower different sectors to help residents.
On integrating AI with mediation, this year, Singapore said they will roll out AI mediation assistant. They will make use of AI technology, and based on court documents, timetable, as well as the position of both parties in a case, the tool will help draft an agreement. Then this document can be edited by humans, and we can see that based on this model, technology can help enhance the efficiency of mediation. That will also help save time and money for both parties in the case. On sports arbitration, apart from mediation in the community level, I support that the government sets up a sports arbitrations or sports dispute resolution system. Sports disputes could be very controversial. For example, athlete selection as well as use of drugs, these can all be disputes. These disputes are rather complex compared to ordinary disputes, so I think the government should come up with a dedicated mechanism. Hong Kong as a events capital city, I think that the government should set up a sports dispute resolution system. Currently, we do not have a standard or unified dispute resolution system in the sports sector. We are currently relying on the internal mechanism of NSAs to deal with disputes, and this may not be the most neutral way to deal with these disputes. There's also a lack of transparency of this mechanism. NSAs lack the power to investigate in cases, so this is not ideal. I think that we are well positioned to develop a sports dispute resolution system. We can complete the legislations, and the judiciary can offer support and resources as well. The government earlier told us that as at May this year, the register of the IOMED, there are 99 mediators and arbitrators with such expertise, and in the register in Hong Kong, there are 144 mediators with knowledge in sports. So I think we have a good number of talent here. We should, however, continue to enhance manpower so that we can develop a comprehensive sports dispute resolution system. I've been calling for the government to disclose more details on building such a system, including a timetable, a mode of operation, relevant policies and measures, and so on. The government told us that it doesn't have a concrete timetable yet. However, I do think that the government should speed up and work with different government bureaus and developments to help us develop sports in Hong Kong. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Kitson Young. Thank you, President. This year, the policy, I will describe it this way. It takes on board the views of people in Hong Kong. It also takes on board the views of A4 Alliance. I appreciate that the government is trying to be innovative to deal with all the livelihood issues. The Hong Kong International Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world. It's also the busiest cargo handling airports in the world. I support the work of the government in developing international airports. For example, the Hong Kong government is going to work with the Zhuhai Airport, and then next year, the first phase of the HKIA Dongguan Logistics Park will be completed. Also, the government is going to plan for the phase 2 of the logistics park. Also, there will be the air transshipment cargo exemption scheme extended to other transshipment model. With the 3-runway system, we will have a high capacity for the airport in Hong Kong, and this will enhance our status. The Hong Kong International Airport tops the airports in the world. However, I think that we should enhance the Dongguan Logistics Parks model. While the goods can be packed and screened in Dongguan and then shipped directly to Hong Kong International Airport, this helps save time and cost. However, a lot of freight companies told us that they have to have enough goods to pack one ship to ship the goods. Given the time needed, a lot of freight companies are still or a lot of manufacturers are still shipping their goods through sea transport. In the mainland, there is so-called land, air, sea integrated shipment model. The transporting machine can fly in low altitude, and it is like a express rail link on the sea. And such a transportation can be fixed on the sea. It can move at a speed of 500 kilometers per hour. Compared to the cost of transporting goods by airport with a speed of 900 kilometers per hour, the cost is halved. And we only need a simple pier for this kind of vessel. If we use this kind of vessel to deliver goods, we only need one container of goods in order to start the shipment. And this is much more efficient. So factories can get more orders before they ship all the goods in one go, and this will help enhance our competitiveness. This kind of vessel is going to be a breakthrough, and it will change the delivery model and transshipment model. I understand that some Hong Kong companies are thinking of building such a vehicle that is a ground effect vehicle. I think the government should consider building such vehicles and using the logistics park in Zhuhai as a pilot base. If this model is successful, we can expand this to the western side of Zhuhai, including Jiangmen. Then we can better address the needs of goods transport. Also, it is mentioned in the policy address that we should develop low-altitude economy. How can we do so? We have to start by developing cross-boundary cargo shipment. The vehicle I mentioned is a good example. We should make use of intermodal cargo transshipment modes. We should also explore whether this is cost-effective, however. We know that a lot of food delivery platforms, they make use of drones in Shenzhen to deliver meals. Ms. Connie Lam and I earlier talked to some of the people in charge of food delivery platforms, and we went to Cheung Kwan O to see whether it is possible to develop flight routes around Chen Kuan-o, and the people in charge told us that apart from identifying sites, cost effectiveness is one important consideration. They have to ensure that there will be goods delivered by drones. In Shenzhen, drones operate using the subsidies given by the government, and they hardly make any profit. Therefore, we have to make sure how we can maximize our profit by developing our low-altitude economy. And I think we should think about low-altitude logistics. The ground effect vehicle can be one important tool in developing low-altitude economy. In terms of surveying, aerial taxis, as well as tourism can be benefited or can be a part of low-altitude economy. The government can consider having large-scale drone performances in Kai Tak as well as the East Kowloon Promenade. These places can be pilot bases for low-altitude economy or drone operations. We can also make use of drones to offer sightseeing services for visitors so that they can appreciate the views and landscapes of the outlying islands. There will be a working group on developing low-altitude economy set up by the government. I hope that the working group can come up with a plan, including legislations, land development, as well as airspace management. We should learn from the mainland experience to develop low-altitude economy. I so submit. Thank you. Dr. Chow Man Kong, President, we are trying to pursue economic growth. The latest policy address responds to the goal of the third plenum, that is to build Hong Kong into an international financial, shipping and trading center. There is a series of measures proposed by the policy address to offer support to SMEs, and this addresses the demands of the business sector. I think this helps boost confidence and development in Hong Kong. Last Friday, the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office held a symposium in Shenzhen and Hong Kong, and Mr. Xia Baolong said the business sector should take a certain direction in the future. The country is deepening its reform, and we are facing different challenges externally. I think the business sector in Hong Kong should actively respond to the calls made by Mr. Xia Baolong, and we should have organic integration between the policies proposed as well as the direction given by Mr. Xia Baolong. I will talk about I&T as well as the financial sector in Hong Kong. First, on financial services, Mr. Xia mentioned that Hong Kong has been taking on board different technologies and capital, and therefore we are an international financial, shipping and trade center. I'm glad that the government is going to build a coal trading center as well as a commodity trading ecosystem. These are new measures, and this will benefit insurance and other sectors in the supply chain. I think there are many business opportunities if we develop ourselves into a gold center. We are in a core location in Asia. We're in a strategic position. We're also a free port with free flow of import and export goods. We are well positioned to develop ourselves into a gold trading center. We are the biggest gold trading center in Asia. I believe that we can start with developing ourselves in the gold trading center to further build ourselves into a commodity trading ecosystem. and this is a new growth point for us. On I&T, we should not indulge in our previous glory. We should build a new world for ourselves. In recent years, the SAR government has been promoting I&T and allocating resources into the sector. For example, in the latest policy address, the government has put forward a $1.5 billion subsidy scheme. There is also a $10 billion I&T fund, as well as a $1.5 billion I&T venture fund. I think these measures show that the government is determined to promote new productive forces. It is trying to make use of capital in the private market to drive the growth of the I&T sector. It is also trying to help I&T enterprises and startups to complete the I&T ecosystem in Hong Kong. The government should ride on the I&T trend and guide the transformation and upgrading of different sectors. Like Mr. Xia said, the business sector should explore new industries and identify new growth impetus. The Hong Kong SAR government should create a good business environment. For example, in recent years, AI is applied in many areas. In the government work report as well as the third plenum, there were mentioned about the development of AI. I think that the SAR government should create infrastructure for adopting AI. 1, regulation and laws. 2, application scenario, so that AI can play its role in Hong Kong. We can make use of our R&D advantages to speed up the building of the Northern Metropolis. We can build a park like the Suzhou Industrial Park so that we can support talent to develop in Hong Kong. Thank you.
Mr. Chan Chen-ying, President, the policy address is themed Reform for Enhancing Development and Building Our Future Together. This is a response to the strategic positioning of Hong Kong as set out in the third plenary session. We should consolidate our position as an international financial, shipping, and trade center and become a hub for high-caliber talents. This will enhance our functions and role as international metropolis. This has addressed the call for change in the community, so I will support the motion of thanks on the policy address. Finance is the bloodline of our community and is a key component of our country. It is said that we should expedite the development of financial sector. We should consolidate our positioning as an international financial center, and we should enhance the nurturing of financial talents. We have a strong currency, and we have also a solid financial systems, and it's a hub for nurturing of financial talents. We should meet the requests set out in the third plenum. In the policy address of the chief executive, there are much references to the financial sector, and there are multiple chapters on the sector that shows the government's determination. And we have returned to the third most important international financial center this year. The government said that we should create an international gold trading center and a commodities trading ecosystems. I am optimistic about the future of our financial sector. I would like to make 4 points. First, we have to enhance the competitiveness of our traditional financial sector. I'm glad that the policy address have taken on board some of our views. It is said that the government will continue to improve the securities market, and they will enhance the listing rules, and hopefully under the new arrangement we will speed up the application for IPOs so that the Hong Kong MA will not launch too many rounds of questions. This will lower the listing cost of enterprises so that more enterprises will raise funds in Hong Kong. This will facilitate our position as an IPO hub. Hopefully, we can return to the top IPO hub in the world. The Hong Kong MA is also reviewing the margin requirements and collateral requirements. Hopefully, this will encourage investors to trade. The trading activities will be more efficient. There will be fewer procedures, thereby lowering the transaction cost. I think that the government should, however, continue to lower the investment costs to attract frequent trading or encourage frequent trading. For stocks with low trading volume, we have not set requirements to ask them to leave the market. For listed companies with low transaction or low valuation, I think that the government should set up OTC mechanism for companies who don't meet the listing rules enter the market. This will enhance the image of listed companies. Also, we should set out ways for listed companies to leave the market to enhance protection for investors. To enhance our position as an international offshore renminbi hub, we should roll out more renminbi-denominated products. For example, Hong Kong dollar renminbi dual counter stocks to attract institutional investors. And we should also encourage the country to increase the frequency and the volume of sovereign bond denominated in renminbi. We should also roll out renminbi denominated futures. This will create a stable bond yield for the market. This will encourage the borrowing activities of renminbi. Also, the southbound travel of the mutual market access regime will diversify choices for our investors. For the offshore development of renminbi business, it is flourishing, but we have to continue to increase the usage of renminbi. We have to speed up, and we should not be hesitant. Second, we should create new growth points for development. It is said that we will build an international gold trading market and build infrastructures for that. With the unstable market, there is a greater demand for gold. Heightened geopolitical tensions encourage investors to relocate the golds that they store in UK and US to other places. Our stability and security meet their requirements and needs, and our gold storage tops the world. We are well positioned to become the price setter for gold. The government said that we should create world-class gold storage facilities to facilitate storage and development of spot golds, such as collateral and loan business. A working group will also be set up to strengthen the trading mechanism and regulatory framework, promoting application of cutting-edge financial technology. However, the competition for international gold trading is fierce. Different organizations in the world are trying to compete. I think that we should set up a timetable for creating a warehouse for gold. At the same time, the government proposed to offer tax concessions to create a commodities trading ecosystems. The derivatives scale is not substantial. There is room for further growth. I think that we should build an accredited warehouse for commodities and put in place facilitating measures to encourage mainland enterprises to conduct trading of commodities such as non-ferrous metals in Hong Kong. This will facilitate enterprises set up their presence here and enhance our financial functions. This will also facilitate logistics, shipping, storage, and delivery of commodities. The government can consider making reference to mainland practices. Maybe we should align our standards with that of Shanghai. Maybe we should also set up a closed-loop trading channel so that we can become a pilot spot for mutual access of gold. We should also promote the development of fintech. This is important to the development of international financial sector. I'm glad that the government has taken on board our proposals on fintech literacy, including the application of a central bank digital currency. The Hong Kong MA last month announced that they have established a cross-border collaborative mechanism. They have linked the central bank digital currency with a Brazilian government. I think that there will be more room for collaboration among central banks. We should also encourage investors to make use of tokens to trade. This will enhance the tracing of transactions. The cost of transaction is also low. This is popular among European investors. I think that more institutional investors will issue tokenized bonds in the future. That will facilitate transactions. The project Ensemble Sandbox been rolled out this August, and the real-world use cases is being studied. This is important to Hong Kong. I hope that the Hong Kong MA will continue to lead the sector in upgrading and transforming, consolidating our competitiveness. The Hong Kong MA is working with the central bank on IBPS. The single transaction is limited in terms of amount, and it is limited to small value payments. With more people going to the mainland for shopping and more mainland people coming to Hong Kong for study, there will be more use cases for cross-boundary small value payments. There are also SMEs looking for business opportunities in the mainland. I hope that the amount and the scope of service will be expanded to enterprises so that we can have real-time cross-boundary large value payments so that both people and the enterprises can benefit. Also, the government is going to stabilize the property market. SMEs can apply for a 12-month principal moratorium, and they can benefit from the various schemes under the government. This provides a break for SMEs suffering from insufficient cash flow. For 9 banks, they have reserved for some $300 million to support the scheme. With different measures, I hope that SMEs with cash flow problem can be saved. Also, $1 billion will be dedicated to support e-commerce EC. Non-listed companies will be supported to develop their brands and expand their markets. This will enhance the competitiveness of our local SMEs and allow them to expand and enter other markets. Injecting cash flow into SMEs so that they can transform and upgrade is very essential to our development. Under the new CIES, investors can invest in property valued over $50 million. This will enhance the attractiveness of the scheme and attract more investments. This kind of residential properties are luxury properties. This will not affect the small to medium property market. The Hong Kong IC said that 100 applicants have filed for the scheme. I think that, as far as I understand, most of them don't invest just $50 million. They invest as much as $100 million. So this shows that the scheme has been very attractive. The loan-to-value ratio has been standardized to 70%, and the debt servicing ratio has been set at 50%. This will meet the home ownership needs of the people, and we are in a rate cut cycle. This will stabilize the property market. The relaxing of the loan-to-value ratio and the new CIES will benefit the property market. In recent months, the negative equity cases has been increasing, and the market is worried. But the number of negative equity cases are not as high as what we saw in the last century. If the property market is stabilizing and if our economy is bottoming out, this will decrease the negative equity cases. In the third plenum, it is said that we should further deepen reform comprehensively. We should be innovative while upholding our fundamental principles. We should review if there is room for us to improve our different policies, and we should put in place new measures. Commodities and gold could be our new growth areas. And the basic housing units are some of the new measures that the government has rolled out. This shows their new mindset. Overall speaking, I think that the chief executive has delivered a policy address of change. I hope that the government can implement the policies effectively so that the Hong Kong economy will speed up their growth. Thank you. That's all submit.
Members, I will suspend the meeting at around 6:30 p.m. Mr. Chen Pui-Leung. Thank you, President. The Chief Executive delivered his policy address last month. It shows that the SAR government is determined to lead Hong Kong to make and embrace changes. And then there is much on economic development. It talks about Hong Kong's development into international financial, shipping and trading center. Concrete measures proposed is in line with the positioning of Hong Kong under the resolution of the third plenary session of the 20th CBC Central Committee. Now, on financial services, the policy address proposes to build a commodity trading ecosystem, and also we will develop the gold and non-ferrous metal trading market, as well as storage and delivery market. This will add diversity to the financial market. It will also inject new vitality to the sector. In 2022, the financial insurance sectors account for 22.4% of the GDP, and the policy address proposes to study enriching insurance companies' assets. And then it's also to use insurance to lead to use insurance capital in infrastructure building, such as the Northern Metropolis. And then there is increasing cooperation with Belt and Road countries on infrastructure projects. But then there are also increasing risks in terms of natural disasters and so on. So mainland companies want to go global, and they want to. So that's why there is now a demand for risk management, and that will provide opportunities to the local insurance industry, in particular the repo industry sector. Now, we need risk management is done usually by repo companies, insurance companies, and Hong Kong is well fitted for such a businesses. That is the captive insurance business. But there are just 4 captive insurers in Hong Kong, so there's still room for accommodating more such insurers. And then I suggest that the SL government should actively develop Hong Kong into a international captive insurer center, and there could be relaxation of the vetting process. The government could encourage innovation in such business, and there could be more tax concessions. More importantly, there is need for stronger promotion and publicity in the mainland. There has to be policy guidance to bring global companies, in particular large mainland companies, to choose Hong Kong for the captive insurance needs. So we could then bring more captive insurers to Hong Kong. On International Shipping Centre. Now, there could be value-added professional maritime services provided to the shipping industry. That's what the SAL government has been trying to promote in recent years. I've always suggested the government should do more to promote maritime services, in particular marine insurance. Hong Kong is the world's number 2 maritime insurance center. So that means if we're to develop Hong Kong into an international shipping center, that means there is room for development of such insurance businesses too. But right now, price setting is led by the European and American market. So we need to build a risk pool in Hong Kong, and so the insurance capitals will stay in Hong Kong. Now, there are few professional training courses for maritime talents. There are also difficulties in recruiting maritime talents. There's no succession. In the past, I have suggested on many occasions that the government should come up with a long-term plan for training maritime talents. Now, the policy address proposes measures to step up training of maritime talents, and I hope the SL government must also publicize the bright prospects of this line of work. Now, we want to develop Hong Kong in international shipping center. Different bureau and departments are involved, so either the secretaries or department or deputy secretary of department must lead such development at a higher level, and then working groups have to be set up to follow up on such development. Now, economic development will help to improve people's livelihood. It's about benefiting the people. I believe the policy address will lead Hong Kong in the right direction, and we also see that the government is determined to seek and embrace changes. At the same time, I see there are concrete and pragmatic measures to speed up economic development so that there will be a better future for the public. I'll speak again in session 4. Ms. Carmen Can. President, the third plenary session resolution positions Hong Kong as an international financial trade and shipping center, so I'll speak on that. Now, the Hong Kong is ranked in the number 3 financial center. So there are measures, new measures announced, such as the developing of a gold trading market, commodity exchange, and CMU. And this is to enhance our international growth settlement capacity. Now, I suggest there should be more RMB denominated investment products, and we must also harmonize our effort with authorities to roll out commodity futures market. And we need to consolidate our position as the largest offshore RMB business hub. Hong Kong is also the stepping stone for mainland businesses to go global. So we should support leading industries, businesses on the mainland to come and list in Hong Kong. The government could seek support from central authorities, so we could set up a green corridor to simplify the vetting process for mainland businesses to list in Hong Kong. And then we could play our role as a civil connector. On green finance, I hope the Hong Kong EXA will also set up an access mechanism for the certification service, and then we could better align ourselves with the carbon reduction standards of the country. It will help to promote carbon trading. On trade and shipping center, in May this year, I joined the ASEAN delegation led by you, President. The report has been submitted to the SL government. I'm glad to see that in the policy address that there will be further promotion of financial collaboration with ASEAN countries. Well, many businesses want to learn more about the ASEAN and Middle East markets. They are keen to help to tell good stories of Hong Kong. So there's a need to regularly update the song sheets and fact sheets to list out the advantages of Hong Kong, so we can help to promote Hong Kong to other places. With the strong support of the country, I'm glad to see that Hong Kong is actively trying to gain ascension to RCEP. And then there are also many more free trade agreements signed with countries and neighboring countries. I hope the government will continue with these measures. And we want to bring more countries to come to Hong Kong, and so we should promote a settlement of commodity trading and so on, using their own currencies of different countries. Now, we need to have more RMB investment products so that Hong Kong will further develop as an offshore RMB business center. Now, we want to promote digitization, so we should consider the use of blockchain, and there must be a legal framework for that. On International Legal Dispute Resolution Center, the relevant International Academy of Training Legal Talents has been commissioned, so we should aim at training more legal talents in different specialist areas such as maritime law, aviation law, and so on. Promoting the digital economy, I previously moved a motion on digital economy. I see that the government has done much since. The setting up of the digital policy office shows that there is enhanced capacity of the government. I think the government could come up with some various case should learn about should collect case studies. Different departments could refer to them, and there is also the standard contract for cross-boundary flow of personal information now. So that's been expanded to cover 9 mainland cities in GBA. This is to further promote cross-boundary flow of personal information. I would like to remind the government and the Privacy Commission to strike a good balance between facilitating the flow of information and data security. Now, finally, we will finally see the establishment of the I&T Park in the Loop. And I'm glad to learn that the outline development plan for the park will be published this year. This will promote the flow of talents, capital, and R&D outcomes. So I hope this plan will help to make sure that we are properly connected to the Shenzhen Park. Now, I'm on top talents. I'm glad to see the expansion of the university list for the top talent pass scheme to over 100 institutions. And also, there's extension of the visa period to 3 years. I hope there will be proactive surveys conducted by the government to look at the needs for talents, and so we could come up with targeted measures. On retaining talents, well, the Bank of China, the Hong Kong MA have various measures to allow mainland talents to bring financial resources through a closed loop arrangement. Now, recently, there's the Hub's Director Xia Baolong met with the business sector. He suggested that we have to make, develop our business with Hong Kong as our home. Now, the government has shown determination to make reforms, so it's for the community to respond as a whole to such initiatives, and together we could build a better Hong Kong. I want the government to show its commitment in this respect, and it will actually implement all the proposed initiatives. Thank you. Mr. Tommy Cheung. Now we want to promote people's livelihood and economy. This is the very foundation of governance. The Liberal Party supports the third policy address of the Chief Executive. And many of the initiatives were actually advocated by us over the years, and we're glad to see the government has responded to our suggestions. Now, we suggested building a green port on the application of hydrogen fuel and methanol. Singapore is ahead of us, so we need to catch up, and there is huge market potential. So there should be development. Last year, in the policy address, the Chief Executive undertook to conduct a feasibility study on the suggestion, and then a task force was set up eventually. In the latest policy address on the promotion of new energy, there's a mention that we will develop a supply chain of sustainable green aviation and maritime fuel. And then there will be a plan to develop bunkering industry, storage industry as well. And then methanol is now another green fuel option for ocean-going vessels. From Jury and Clarkson's report, starting from 2026, there will be over 100 methanol-powered vessels joining the global fleet, and they will account for about 14% of the global fleet, up from 2%. So we can see that methanol is increasingly being used by vessels.
Earlier, there is a legislative amendment exercise carried out in the Legislative Council, and it was about the use of green fuel in vessels to promote the development of green port in Hong Kong. It took us 16 months to complete the legislative exercise. I proposed this suggestion to the Chief Executive earlier, and he supported the idea. The Liberal Party then provided further suggestions to the government, and that's how we had the bill. I've been in this council for many years, and I have never seen this high efficiency. So we can see that any policies that can benefit our people should be taken forward efficiently. Now I turned to the development of the container port in Hong Kong. We have emerged from the pandemic for some time. However, from Hong Kong to the US, there is only one ship. And most of the ships go to Yantian. The Liberal Party calls for having more ships back in Hong Kong. A lot of the ships from other places, if they don't use green fuel, they have to pay a surcharge. So we are lagging behind in this regard. I so submit. Thank you. Ms. Connie Lam. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the latest policy address. I think that this is a comprehensive and aggressive policy address. The chief executive has listened to people's views in different areas, and he is rolling out many reforms. It shows that the government is very well planned. In the National 14th Five-Year Plan, it affirmed the positioning of Hong Kong as the 8 centers. Many of the relevant measures, they are intertwined, and a lot of relevant measures are proposed in the policy address. For example, there's enhancements to the tax regime. Also, the government is upgrading the old Maritime and Port Development Board into the Maritime and Port Development Board. All these measures can help enhance Hong Kong's status as an international financial, shipping and trading center. I'd like to talk about the development of e-commerce today. I think the government is not placing enough emphasis on this. 2 days ago, it was the 11th of November. Different e-commerce platforms on the mainland rolled out different discounts. Relevant enterprises on the mainland handled 700 million pieces of goods. However, in Hong Kong, we don't have the same vibe. Recently, some mainland platforms put in $1.5 billion to subsidize Hong Kong consumers. Many friends of mine, they shop a lot on these mainland platforms. According to statistics, in 2023, e-commerce revenue accounts for 27% of the relevant figures in the retail sector. However, it is only 8.5% in Hong Kong. That means we have great potential to develop our e-commerce. Cross-boundary e-commerce is crucial. In 2023, mainland e-commerce accounts for 2.17 trillion yuan, which is more than double of the amount made by the US. Hong Kong plays the role as a superconnector. To promote logistics and e-commerce, we can enhance our status as an international trading center. We have to build Hong Kong into a cross-boundary e-commerce and logistics center. We have to review the relevant logistics procedure to enhance the efficiency of goods distribution. However, how can we do that exactly? We can learn from the practice on the mainland. There are policies on the mainland. Since 2014, e-commerce traders are regulated by the Custom and Excise Department on the mainland, and they release reports on this. However, Hong Kong is lagging behind in this area. The government should have a better idea on the development of e-commerce in Hong Kong. We, as the superconnector, we have the advantages, and this is shown in the logistics sector. We can help bring in capital and help enterprises go global. We have the Fly via Zhuhai Hong Kong scheme. That means we can make use of the flight routes in Hong Kong. Through Zhuhai Airport, we can ship goods to the Zhuhai Airport. And through the domestic flight network in Zhuhai, we can transport goods to second or third tier mainland cities. And this helps China-made goods to go global. However, currently we are facing different challenges in this regard, so we need more guidelines from the government to bring in leading enterprises in the e-commerce sector. In the GBA, a few years ago, there was the e-commerce, cross-boundary e-commerce high-quality development guidelines. The clear guidelines help nurture e-commerce talent, and it also helps the development of cross-boundary e-commerce districts. They have leading enterprises in the e-commerce sector, which help drive the development of the upstream sector. To give you an example, the Xi'an government, to bring in leading enterprises, they offer subsidies. From Xi'an to Spain, they offer $3,000 of subsidy for the cargo flight. Under the BUD fund, we have e-commerce easy. However, the support is limited. I hope the government can consider rolling out tax concessions to attract leading enterprises to set up headquarters in Hong Kong so that we can be an international shipping center. Thank you. Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, President. This is the third policy address of the Chief Executive. It is a comprehensive one. It responds to the aspiration of the central government to see reforms in Hong Kong. It also helps enhance the status of Hong Kong as an international shipping, trading, and financial center. There are different measures to boost economic growth. I'm glad that the government has taken on board a lot of my suggestions. There are many parts in the policy address dedicated to financial reforms. For example, the government is going to build a financial gold trading center and is also going to build a commodity trading ecosystem. I am going to offer more suggestions on these measures. In the policy address, it is mentioned that the government plans to build Hong Kong into an international gold trading center. In this connection, the Airport Authority publishes a plan to build storage facilities for gold, and the capacity will be increased to 1,000 tons. With these facilities, we can have gold storage in Hong Kong. At the same time, the government should make use of relevant resources to build such a center. The sector suggests that the government seek to have early accession to RCEP so that with zero tariff, Hong Kong can export gold as well as metal to RCEP countries. The London Metal Exchange is going to help with the financing and the building of Hong Kong into a gold trading center. It is mentioned that the government will enhance the listing regime for companies so that there can be more effective approval for listing applications. I'm glad that the Hong Kong stock exchanges are going to work with the government to help speed up the listing applications. Also, the government is going to review the arrangement for deposits of securities. I hope the relevant measures can be taken forward soon. This will help or facilitate the development of the relevant sectors. Also, we are going to have disclosure standards. The mechanism will be reviewed and the IPO arrangement will be relaxed. The MPF scheme will be reformed. And the acquirement of SPAC companies will be enhanced. However, there is no mention about a stock duty. I hope the government, while trying to balancing the books, it can lower the stock duty for each transaction, lower it by 0.05%. At the same time, the government has to make more efforts to follow up on the working group's recommendation on enhancing flow of capital and stocks. The policy address proposes to enhance the mutual market access regime, we have to deepen the relevant stock connect or wealth management connect schemes. Currently, there is a $500 million requirement. I hope the relevant requirement can be relaxed so that different investors and bond issuers can take part in the local market. There should be regimes so that practitioners in the mainland and Hong Kong can expand their services. On expanding RMB business, I support the idea of enhancing the issuance of RMB sovereign bonds in Hong Kong. There should be more RMB denominated investment products in Hong Kong to promote the diversified development of RMB products. On other financial measures, retail investors will be allowed to take part in different types of asset transactions, including virtual assets. Licenses will be approved, and also there will be relaxation of transaction of ETF. There should be 23-hour transactions, and then more virtual asset securities and derivative products should be rolled out to enhance our status as an international risk management center.
I'm also glad that the government is improving the CIES. Investors are allowed to invest in residential properties, and investment made through an eligible private company wholly owned by the applicant will also be counted towards the eligible investments. I hope that the government will make the scheme more flexible in the future to allow residential properties held by two people be allowed. And we should dispense with the deposit balance requirements of $30 million. In terms of expansion of new market, the SFC should on the list of eligible investors include more ASEAN and Middle East countries. Lastly, I thank the government for proposing the principal moratorium measure, allowing the applicant to repay the interest only for 12 months. The government also provides subsidy and financial assistance to SMEs. President, I so submit Mr. Luk Chung-hong. President, I speak as part of the motion of thanks on the policy address. In this session, I will talk about the maritime development of Hong Kong. Some people say that without our ocean, we don't have a port and we don't have Hong Kong. It is the key to our success, and it is also what's set out in the 14th Five-Year Plan and the 3rd plenary session of the CPC Central Committee, and it is our positioning. These two sectors account for 10% of our GDP, offering some 100,000 job opportunities. This is our traditional advantage. There are challenges and opportunities. Our international airport continues to be the busiest cargo airport in the world. The cargo processed increased by 3.2% year-on-year to 4.33 million tons. However, our terminal throughput dropped. In 2023, our port container throughput was only 1.7 million tons. That's a drop of 9% year-on-year. And that's a 30% drop compared to pre-pandemic level. We don't want to see our port demise. So we should ensure the development of high-quality maritime and port services, and we should consolidate our position as an international shipping and trade center. I support the upgrading of Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board as set out in the policy addressed to Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board. As a high-level advisory body, although it's not upgraded to a statutory body, it shows our determination for high-quality development. We have to be comprehensive in terms of our planning, and we have to I hope that the new Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board will take on board the views of the sectors and experts, and there should be representatives from unions in the board so that we can pool talents together to promote the development of maritime and aviation industry. It is important for us to nurture talents in these two sectors. How do we encourage our young people to join the sector so that they will not focus on becoming lawyers or doctors to secure a prosperous futures? We should encourage our young people to join the aviation and maritime sector by offering them professional programs so that they can put what they learn into their jobs. And we should also promote high value-added maritime services, including insurance and leasing services. However, we should not ignore the importance of traditional sector, and we should promote the development of a smart port in Hong Kong. I think that the government can consider providing tax concessionary measures or land exchange, in situ land exchange. My apologies, President. We have to encourage the development of smart ports. We should make use of AI and Internet of Things to improve our competitiveness through new quality productive forces. And we should expand the exemption of air transshipment cargo scheme to other intermodal transshipment modes with a view to enhancing competitiveness, including sea air intermodal cargo transshipment mode to leverage on our Hong Kong Zhuhai Macau bridge and to make use of our advantage of sea air land intermodal cargo transshipment services. We should also make full use of our 3 runway systems. We should not be complacent, and we should be forward-looking in terms of our technological development. I went to a Zhuhai Aviation Expo, and I learned that the drones were very successful in our country. The drones can carry some 3,200 kg and can go as far as 2,200 kilometers. We don't need a operator for such drones. These drones can lower the aviation cost by 1 time. So the demand for aviation services will expand in the future. I think that the government should review the legislation and engage in R&D of drones so that we can seize the opportunities. This may sound very far off a vision, but I think that we could perhaps implement it in 10 years' time. When we talk about, for example, smart logistics warehouse and storage, I think that the government should relax the use of land, relax the building height, and allow the operators to integrate factory and warehouse into a single building. to develop new industry 4.0. This is a mode of development that integrates property and logistics. This will generate a lot of different job opportunities for our city. I so submit. Thank you, President. Mr. Kennedy Wong. President, the Chief Executive on the 16th of October delivered his third policy address. It focuses on the future development of Hong Kong. Our government is determined to understand, respond to, and embrace changes. Further deepening reform will be beneficial to our livelihood, I&T, and the government has developed or devised a very forward-looking plan for consolidating our position as an international financial, shipping, and trade center. And we have also speed up our pace in developing an I&T Centre. The policy address is themed reform for enhancing development. I think that is commendable. In the third plenary session of the CPC Central Commission, a resolution was passed saying that we should fully harness the opportunities for transformation. I suggest that the government, when they carry out institutional change, they should learn from the past and create an effective mechanism. In particular, I think that we should empower secretaries of bureaus and directors of departments to deploy manpower and resources to effectively implement the blueprint set out in the policy address. As a member that represents the import and export sector, I am particularly concerned about the consolidation of our position as an international trade center. It is said that we will enhance interfacing of trade and we will strive to join the RCEP. The government will also let delegation visit to ASEAN and Middle East countries as well as Belt and Road countries and cross-sectoral seminars and summit as well as high value added supply chain and digitalization of financing as well as digitalization of international trade, injecting $500 million into a BUD fund, and the implementation of e-commerce EC are the measures that we have been advocating for, and the policy address have taken on board our proposals. Given the complicated external and internal environment coupled with the impact brought about by the coronavirus pandemic, our position of a trade center has been shaken. Our import and export volume has dropped. Although it seems that we are bottoming out and the future is bright, but there are still problems that we have to resolve. That's why we've been asking the government to publish policy statements and roll out effective policy measures. We have to develop emerging markets while supporting local import and export enterprises, especially SME import and export enterprises. We have to seize the opportunities brought about by e-commerce and digital economy. We have to transform and upgrade. I'm glad that the policy address has also incorporated a lot of our proposals. I look forward to the relevant bureaus and departments implementing the measures. And I look forward to results. However, for the formulation of an integrated platform and the digital customs declarations, as well as the laying of submarine cables, along with other measures that we proposed, have not been included in the policy address. I think that these are measures for us to consolidate our position as an international trade center. We will continue to advocate for such proposals and hope that the government will accept our suggestions. The government will continue to work with ASEAN and Belt and Road countries, given our heightened geopolitical tensions. The risk faced by Hong Kong enterprises in entering new markets is high. So we must leverage on the strengths of our country and support of the SAR government for us to go further. I think that the government should increase manpower deployment in economic and trade offices in other countries. And we should also seek support from foreign-related departments in the mainland so that we can help our businesses go global. Meanwhile, we should try to consolidate the positioning of ETOs and foreign offices of different statutory bodies and the government. We should try to promote Hong Kong business in other places. For example, the Trade Development Council has some 50 offices around the world. Some of the offices, as well as their scope of service, are duplicated with that of the Hong Kong or Invest Hong Kong. Sometimes they do their own things and there is no coordination among these offices. I think that the government should look into how we can enhance coordination among these offices so that they can share resources. Maybe they can share office in other countries and share people network as well as manpower. This will allow us to save costs and enhance our work efficiency. By this, we will be able to help a local business expand our e-commerce network to other places so that we can give full play to our advantage of being a connector.
中心方面
In setting up a regional IP trading center, I'm glad that there will be stronger I&T ecosystem and then also the strengthening of Hong Kong's position as an IP center, intellectual property center, and there will be regular regulatory framework, and then there will be training of professionals and enhancement of their standards. These policy measures will help Hong Kong to give better play to its advantage as an regional IP center. But then I have previously put forward a suggestion to the government. I want the government to set up a platform. So there will be, we start with some training in one sector and then expand the scheme to cover other sectors. For example, with some pharmaceutical product patent and so on, we could start with that. And I hope in the next future policy address, my suggestion will be taken on board. I would like to declare that I have set up a company that is in the wine and liquor business. Now I'd like to talk about liquor tax. I and the DAB welcomes the proposal in the policy address, which is in response to our suggestion for a cut in liquor tax. Now, Hong Kong has the highest liquor tax rate in Asia. At the end of next month, Hainan will become a duty-free port. And Macau SAR next to us has also reduced customs duty, and the duty is lower than ours. For imported wine and liquor in Hainan, they will become duty-free. So substantial reduction of liquor tax will bring more liquor business and liquor storage business to Hong Kong, and there could also be auctioning, financing, and other services too brought to Hong Kong. And this will echo our development of high-end tourism. And many jobs will be created, and our GDP will be boosted. And also, another advantage of lowering the liquor tax is that international liquor companies will use Hong Kong as a springboard to go into the mainland market, and mainland liquor companies could also use Hong Kong as a springboard to go global. So then Hong Kong will surely become a wine and liquor trading hub in Asia. Last week there was the Hong Kong International Wine and Liquor Expo, and you can see that liquor companies have already lowered their prices, so that will help to promote trading, and then consumers are able to enjoy better liquor at a lower price. And cutting the liquor tax also means that Hong Kong will become a springboard and a link between the mainland and the international liquor market. Now, some express worry that lowering liquor tax will encourage more to drink, but actually a good balance has been struck, because the tax cut only applies to liquor priced above $200 or so. And for liquor priced at $200 or so, they account for 85% of the liquor supply here. So we believe reducing the liquor tax does not affect public health. A good balance has been struck. I believe at the end we will benefit because there will be increase in GDP and liquor trading. Now the government. Now I'd like to talk about tobacco duty. Of course, the government puts public health first, and we should support that. But then in the past few years, we see that when there's been substantial increase in tobacco duty, there's only a minor drop of the smoking prevalence rate from 9.5 to 9.1%. And I see that smokers are just turning to lower priced duty not paid cigarettes that actually hurts the revenue of the government. So I hope the government will take into account these practical issues in future when considering whether to increase tobacco duty further. Now, the country has high expectations of Hong Kong. Director Xia Baolong went to Shenzhen last week for meeting with business leaders of Hong Kong. He said that the world has changed. Hong Kong must not just rely on these traditional advantages. It needs to change. So, and then we must make Hong Kong our home and do business in Hong Kong. We need to explore new developments, and we must better integrate into the overall development of the country. So there are 6 needs. And then for conventional industries with an advantage, he's also made specific demands, say such as in the promotion of tourism. So he's pointed out the direction for development for the business sector. The SL government needs to consider his views carefully. I hope the SL government will implement the various measures and initiatives proposed in the policy address. And then the central authorities have also laid down the direction of development, and so we need to make sure that we will tie in with the overall development trend, and we will enhance efficiency, and then we'll embrace reform, and then we will promote new development in Hong Kong. Thank you. Mr. Hon Chow.
First and foremost, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the Chief Executive in formulating his policy address this year, having taken on board many opinions from DAB as well as a lot of stakeholders. He indeed rolls out a series of policies with an eye-catching focus on driving our economy, not least his effort in strengthening our international financial hub status, international shipping hub and trading hub status. Many of our DAB advocacy have been embraced by the authority, including the reduction of duty on spirits, which is truly conducive to trade and business. The Director of Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office of the State Council, Mr. Sha Baolong, attended a conference with local business leaders in Shenzhen earlier on, which is widely reported on the news. Mr. Sha calls for more effort from business leaders to support both Hong Kong SAR and our national development, and a continuous reform for Hong Kong's economy, develop a new pillar to cater to the ever-changing need of our society. Since the inception of the opening up and economic reform of China, Hong Kong business leaders have relentlessly devoted effort, investment to support our national development, and they take initiatives to help transform our motherland into what we are right now. It goes without saying that the Hong Kong business has been supporting China's development through thick and thin. We trust that the Hong Kong business leaders will continue to demonstrate their unwavering commitment to our development and Chinese modernization, especially in such a critical juncture when the development of Hong Kong's new economy is pressing ahead at full steam. We also believe that the Hong Kong SAR government, in response, will make effort to carry on with necessary reform, to streamline government procedures, to remove red tapes, to facilitate business development. Indeed, many unprecedented policies supporting the commercialization of R&D outcome, including the matching fund for advanced technology companies under the Innovation and Technology Bureau, were rolled out not long ago. Based on Deloitte's report, they estimate that there are over 2,700 family offices set up in Hong Kong as of December 2023. Lately, Hong Kong ranks the third as global financial center, a rebound of our global ranking. Few months ago, the Hong Kong Land, a subsidiary of Jardine Matheson Group, pledged to invest $1 billion to renovate the landmark, eyeing the future influx of both international and mainland tourists for the luxury market. This again shows up the public confidence on Hong Kong's economy. Among many policy initiatives in this policy address, I would like to shed some light on the policy effort to enhance our shipping hub status. This year, the policy address announced that the government will reform the current Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board and elevate it to the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Development Board, which will assist the government in rolling out policies and long-term development strategies. I would thank the government in embracing my advice all along. I recall that in June 2023, I raised a electoral question to call for the elevation and reform of the Maritime and Port Board and turn it into a statutory body. I hope that after the elevation and reform, the Maritime and Port Development Board would serve not only as a high-level advisory body for the government, but also strengthen its supervisory role in the development of our local shipping industry. Going forward, the reformed institution should refer to the practice of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, actively collaborate with the TDC, and further leverage its extensive global network. It must connect with international maritime organizations and more actively participate in international maritime conference. I suggest by inviting more maritime business stakeholders and experts to join the board, The government then can delegate its authority to key board members to attend international conference, reach out to international bodies on behalf of the government. After all, we can't solely rely on the Secretary for Transport or Permanent Secretary alone to engage with stakeholders abroad. This sort of international engagement with shipping stakeholders, the more the better. On the other hand, Mr. President, I have continuously urged the government to enhance direct flight service to Europe and North America as soon as possible. I'm pleased to see the Airport Authority to launch a scheme in June this year, concurrently sponsoring airlines to promote new route openings at the Hong Kong airport. The Hong Kong government must facilitate the launching of more direct flight routes to Europe and North America in order to attract more business travelers. That also boosts people-to-people exchange with these destinations. I've heard from time to time the air tickets between Hong Kong and Europe or North America have been very costly and the tickets are rather limited too. That indirectly deters people from coming to Hong Kong. Chairman, as an international financial center and a cosmopolitan city, the English proficiency of Hong Kong is vital in maintaining our competitiveness in the global arena. The government takes initiative in the policy address this year to roll out measures for enhancing English learning and teaching in primary and secondary schools. The government indeed earned some brownie points from the general public in this regard. I shall stop here and leave it to following sections to continue my speech. Thank you.
會議現在暫停，明天9時續會。